Now, what happened with Russia? Now, Russia, there's this weird report on the internet, and maybe I will find this one. It's hard to find. I think to find it via Google, I think the best way is you Google Russia GRU MH370. Oh, actually, there it is. Okay, I found it right away. Okay. So you Google Russia MH370. You have to learn how to use Google correctly if you want to find this stuff. And this, you can find this same text, copy and paste it in several different articles. But right here, look at this. The Russian GRU states that aerospace forces experts remain puzzled as to why the United States Navy captured and then diverted a Malaysian Airlines civilian aircraft from its intended flight path to their vast, highly secretive Indian Ocean base located on the Diego Garcia Atoll. Well, there you go. There you go, chat. So Russia straight up said it was the U.S. Navy. Called the U.S. Navy out specifically. There it is. Also, I want to jump in here as well that when it comes to the UFO phenomenon, the U.S. Navy is often brought up with respect to the UFO phenomenon. Stuff about Office of Naval Intelligence having like looked into it, and that a lot of this stuff goes back to like it's transmedium. It's coming from the water. So the Navy is somehow really involved in this. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen this report, you should read the rest of it. We've talked about it on several live streams. The next crazy part, we're not going to go into this tonight, but I'm going to read it to you. Within 24 hours of offloading highly suspicious cargo, and this is from the Alabama Maersk. That's the boat that was made famous by the Tom Hanks movie, Captain Phelps. 2 of the highly trained Navy SEALs assigned to protect the cargo, Mark Daniel Kennedy and Jeffrey Keith Reynolds, were both found dead at the same time under suspicious circumstances, which would later be determined to be a simultaneous drug overdose at 6 a.m. And before you ask, yes, this is extremely dirty and suspicious. And the families, I already looked into all this. The families were freaking out. The families were freaking out. The families of these SEALs were freaking out, saying these people would never do drugs. That these were guys that were like never do drugs. They were like, there's no way foul play is not involved. This was one of those situations where the family members were like crying and screaming and shit like that. Like one of them, it was so hard. I couldn't even read the testimony from the father of one of these guys because like I was actually crying, just like just reading it about how the dad was just like crying, saying, "I can't be my boy. My boy would never do that." Stuff like that. Like actually just anyway. So it adds quite a bit of credibility to the story when like the GRU's like, hey, remember those 2 crazy Navy SEAL deaths that make no sense whatsoever? And the family members were crying and stuff. Well, yeah, it turns out those guys were protecting the suspicious cargo that got onto MH370. I should probably post this more often because this is one of those things that's like on the internet that people like just literally just ignored because it just didn't make any sense in 2014. But then after all this stuff has happened, it's like, oh, wait, was this actually just real the whole time? Was this just real the whole time? I mean, maybe part of it's bullshit too. I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. So there's your answer for what Russia thinks happened to MH370. Russia says U.S. Navy.